Located at the southern tip of the Malay Peninsula, separated from the rest of the Malay world by the equally significant Strait of Johor, Singapore has always been an island apart. With its tropical climate, dense vegetation, and relatively small size, it is easy to imagine why its colonial rulers described it as an overgrown rock in the sea. Yet this very landscape, with its thick rainforests and sandy beaches, would provide the foundation for the island's dramatic transformation from a humble trading post to one of the most spectacular cities in the world. For centuries, the indigenous peoples of Singapore lived in small settlements scattered throughout the island, subsisting mainly on fishing and gathering. The first significant disruption to this way of life came with the arrival of the British in the early 19th century. Attracted by the island's strategic position along the busy Malacca Strait, the British East India Company established a trading post in 1819. What began as a simple outpost soon grew into a bustling settlement, drawing in merchants and laborers from China, India, and other parts of the region. The early years of Singapore's history were marked by rapid growth and change. Within 2 decades of its founding, the town had become a major entrepot for tin and spices from the Dutch East Indies, rubber from colonies in Malaya, and cotton and silk from China. The arrival of the Chinese in particular would play a pivotal role in shaping Singapore's future. These Chinese immigrants brought with them their language, customs, and most importantly, their business acumen. Over time, they dominated many aspects of Singapore's commerce, from retail to manufacturing, leaving an indelible mark on the island's cultural landscape. But this flourishing prosperity was not without its challenges. The 1880s saw the emergence of serious communal tensions between the Chinese and the Malay population. Coupled with the outbreak of the bubonic plague in 1896, which resulted in thousands of deaths, these events cast a shadow over the island's early years. Yet through these difficulties, Singapore forged ahead, emerging as one of the largest ports in the region. By the turn of the 20th century, Singapore was poised on the brink of a new era, one that would propel it onto the world stage as a major player in international trade. The opening of the Suez Canal in 1869 had significantly reduced the time it took for goods to travel between Europe and Asia, and as a result, Singapore found itself at the crossroads of major shipping routes. During World War I, the Royal Navy recognized the strategic value of Singapore and began fortifying the island. This process culminated in the construction of a massive naval base, which was completed in the 1930s and became known as the Naval Base. The presence of the naval base not only solidified Singapore's importance as a strategic military hub, but also stimulated further economic development. However, this growth was abruptly halted with the Japanese invasion of Singapore in 1942. The fall of Singapore to the Japanese was a humiliating defeat for the British and a traumatic experience for the island's residents. The 3 months that followed the surrender were marked by brutal treatment, forced labor, and severe food shortages. It was a far cry from the bustling commercial hub that Singapore once was. The end of World War II brought with it a sense of relief and the hope for a brighter future. But the recovery process was slow and arduous. The war had devastated Singapore's economy and left deep psychological scars on its people. Nonetheless, the post-war period also witnessed a surge in nationalist sentiment, laying the groundwork for the island's future drive for By the 1950s, the desire for self-determination was growing louder and more insistent. Key figures like Lee Kuan Yew emerged, advocating for a path toward independence. The British government responded by granting self-rule to Singapore in 1959. This was a significant step towards independence, but it was also a time of political turmoil. On June 21, 1965, Singapore gained full independence from the British Empire. Overnight, it became a sovereign nation, a tiny island state on the edge of the Malay Peninsula. For this fledgling nation, the challenges were immense. A lack of natural resources, a fragmented society, and a shortage of skilled labor could have easily overwhelmed any new nation, especially one as small and inexperienced as Singapore. But instead of succumbing to these challenges, Singapore surprised the world. In the decades since its independence, Singapore has undergone an extraordinary transformation. What was once a humble trading post has evolved into one of the most dynamic and prosperous cities in the world. Today, Singapore is celebrated for its economic prowess, its efficient infrastructure, and its multicultural harmony. Some attribute this success to its strategic location at the heart of Southeast Asia. Others point to its commitment to education, its business-friendly policies, or its incorruptible governance. Perhaps it is a combination of all these factors and more that has allowed Singapore to flourish in a way that few predicted. One of the cornerstones of Singapore's success has been its dedication to education. From an early age, Singaporeans are encouraged to pursue excellence in their studies, equipping them with the skills necessary to thrive in a rapidly changing world. This emphasis on education has resulted in a highly skilled workforce, a key driver of Singapore's economic growth. Another critical factor in Singapore's success is its commitment to good governance. The government's focus on meritocracy, transparency, and the rule of law has created an environment of stability and trust, which is essential for both businesses and citizens. Moreover, Singapore's harmonious multicultural society has been another key to its success. The government's policy of racial and religious harmony has fostered a sense of national unity and pride, which has helped to bind Singaporeans together despite their differences. Today, Singapore is often held up as a model for other developing nations, a shining example of what can be achieved with good leadership, smart planning, and a determined citizenry. However, it would be naive to suggest that Singapore's journey has been without its challenges. The city-state has had to grapple with issues such as income inequality, an aging population, and a constant struggle to maintain its delicate ethnic balance. Nevertheless, the Singaporean story remains one of triumph against all odds, a testament to the power of hard work, perseverance, and unity. In the annals of history, there are few examples of countries that have risen so dramatically from humble beginnings to claim a prominent place on the global stage. Singapore is not just a physical city, it is an idea, a concept of what can be achieved when a community comes together with a shared vision. Walking through its iconic streets, one is struck by the sense of order and cleanliness, the efficiency of its public transportation, and the vibrancy of its diverse population. It is a place where towering skyscrapers coexist harmoniously with lush green spaces, where ancient temples stand shoulder to shoulder with modern art museums, and where the aroma of street food mingles with the scent of exotic flowers. Much of Singapore's appeal lies in its remarkable success story, a tale of how a small island off the coast of Malaysia transformed itself from a minor trading post into one of the world's premier financial centers. This transformation was not merely economic, but social and cultural as well. Singapore is a place where people from different races and religions not only coexist, but do so in a spirit of mutual respect and understanding. This cultural diversity has enriched the city's character, making it a melting pot of traditions, languages, and customs. A visit to Singapore is a feast for the senses. The taste of spicy chili crab at a hawker center, the sight of colorful saris and mandarin robes adorning its streets, the sound of Malay gamelan music drifting from a neighborhood mosque, and the smell of incense and jasmine wafting from a Buddhist temple, all combine to create an unforgettable sensory experience. Yet despite its triumphs, Singapore remains acutely aware of the challenges that lie ahead. A nation so reliant on foreign talent and trade must constantly innovate and adapt to stay ahead of the curve. Issues such as income inequality and an aging population require innovative solutions if the city-state is to maintain its standard of living. Looking ahead, Singapore's future seems as bright as ever. Its strategic location at the heart of Southeast Asia, its highly educated workforce, and its business-friendly policies are all assets that will continue to drive its growth. Furthermore, its status as a global hub for finance, technology, and innovation ensures that it will remain at the forefront of economic development in Asia and beyond. The story of Singapore is one of resilience, determination, and unity. From its humble beginnings as a small trading post to its current status as a global city, Singapore has defied the odds at every turn. As we conclude our journey through this remarkable city-state, we are left with a profound sense of admiration for a nation that dared to dream big and worked tirelessly to make those dreams a reality.